Hi, this is Heather Picken, and welcome to the Woman on Fire Entrepreneur Podcast. How to break through anything, become unstoppable, and be profitable. Learn how to align your mind. Yeah, I call that activating your money mojo. Market to your ideal clients and make money doing what you love. Tired of struggling and trying to figure things out? Do you tend to stop when things get tough? Well, I'm here to steer the ship out of the sea of overwhelm so that you can attract money and success in your business now. Grab your favorite beverage, let's fire it up, get inspired, and live life at your highest potential. Here's Heather with her co-host Chihuahua, Frankie Lee. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Woman on Fire Entrepreneur Show, broadcasting to you on two platforms. Yes, that's right, two. We're over on iTunes, so if you're listening to us, you can't see me do this. I'm always joking around. So if you want to watch us on video, head over to heatherpicken.com, click on the blog, and you'll find the interview that I'm doing right now. And so, I always love to bring on guests that I feel are fireballs, are full of, their passion for what they want to do. And I love this topic that we're going to be dealing with today. And that is about building your business that's not a cookie cutter business. Because let's face it, nowadays, everyone is looking real samey. And, I am telling you, I'm going to be the first one. I've been guilty of doing that until I realized I have to be authentic. I have to be me. And I think that's the most important thing that you can do in your business in order to attract those kinds of clients and grow a thriving business. That being said, I want to introduce my guest, Desiree Wolfe, and we're going to be talking about, this whole thing about cookie cutter business, how to really step into your own power and being authentic. So Desiree, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. Woo woo.
I know. I love this. And I love your energy. I love putting guests on here that are not always like in a personality that's dry, like dry toast. Like, I'm so glad I'm not a dry piece of toast.
I am not a dry piece of toast for sure.
It makes it easier. And before we dive right into this topic, if you could share a little bit about how you help people.
Sure. Well, my mission and my passion in life is really to help women in business feel empowered. For so many years, we were when women started to have their business, they were the other income or they were the extra income. So now I have like this personal fire inside of me to help women really step into who they are as a business owner. I'm a marketing strategist by heart. I come from the sales background in hospitality. So I take, all of these skills that I've learned in the business world and I kind of break them down for women who are starting to step into their power of being a business owner. And I really help give them the skills and the strategies they need to explode this online empire, both on and offline, actually. So, I'm all about empowering women and helping them feel like they're stepping into the role of CEO.
I love that. And that's where we're so in alignment. I mean, we really need to help empower women to own their greatness. And this conversation is so on point because it's really about, not having your business like a cookie cutter, not having it like everyone else. So let's talk about, and sometimes I like to start off with this question. What do you find is the biggest mistake that women are making when trying to grow their business? To then either let's actually take it two different ways. They're either starting out or they're trying to go to the next level. So biggest mistakes.
The number one biggest mistake that I see hands down is comparisonitis. They start off what they think is quote unquote research. I'm researching other people, and hours, even days, months later, I've seen women do it. They're staring at somebody else's website, somebody else's social media, and they're looking at how successful they appear and comparing themselves thinking, I'll never be like that, or I can never do what they're doing. And so they start to even, tear themselves down. I think that's the number one mistake that you can make when you're trying to, like you said, grow a business or get to the next level. Start looking at other people's stuff. Don't do that.
Oh my gosh. Can I just tell you, this is something I experienced myself. It triggered me. And I just want to go back. And growing up, I had a sister. I still have a sister. and she was like straight A photographic memory. And I always felt like I was standing in her shadow. And it wasn't until she went away for an entire year to Luxembourg as an exchange student where I was able to own my power, own my greatness in high school. I wasn't known as Dawn's sister.
Yeah.
And so that carried over. So this is really interesting. I didn't realize that I had that issue at the time. I was just like upset. I'm like, oh, I'll show everyone. And so in my business, what I found myself doing is I would look at other people. I would start freaking out. They're more successful. They're better. I can't be like this. And literally I would shut down, and I'm thinking, well, no one's going to want to work with me. And I think this is such a great topic because I know women out there are feeling, if I felt it, I know women out there are feeling it now. They're holding themselves back. So I really appreciate you sharing.
Well, just like you, Heather, I felt it too. Like, I would go to somebody's website and I'm like, oh, it's a beautiful website. If they're doing this perfectly and it looks awesome already, why should I bother?
Exactly.
So, it goes into even, I'll never be like them. Why bother? So then it's like, you talk yourself out of even wanting to be in business,
It's so true. And I find, as women, if we put ourselves down and start questioning, well, who am I to do that? And we don't really own our power, then we can never embrace our own unique expression of why we're here. Yeah. And whatever that is, whether you're, creating jewelry, you've got a coaching practice, business healer, whatever. I just think that's so important. So then my next question is, what are some tips and strategies for people really to, or I should say women, empower themselves? And I know we've got men watching and listening, so, we don't want to exclude you from this conversation, but I know that a lot of women are feeling this way. So if I say women, I'm really talking about men too. But, I really find a lot of women have those issues. But, what are some of the things that we can start doing? Because, okay, picture this, and I know, you've probably been there, you've had clients, you're on Facebook. You're scrolling down your feed, you see all these sponsored Facebook ads. Hey, it's so funny because it's like the same, and I was there and like, okay. And then people start getting triggered. So it's like, we have to have a strategy to navigate around that, so what are some of the tips from that kind of distraction, comparitis, I think you called it.
Yeah.
and then really getting into that space of, okay, I really want to own my power. Like, I'm so sick of putting myself down.
Yeah. That's a great question, Heather. And it took me a long time to learn this too. The best way to not get caught up into that is to shut it all off. I use a plugin on Chrome called Newsfeed Eradicator, and it blocks the newsfeed on my Facebook. I don't see all of that other stuff. I don't have a chance to compare myself to what other people are posting because I don't see it.
I love that.
Which was a huge lesson for me because I used to think of, well, I need to know what other people are doing so I can stay relevant and talk about what they're doing. And I was finding I wouldn't stay in that mode of thinking for very long. I quickly went down that comparisonitis. So now I found, okay, I might go engage in conversation to see what other people are talking about, but stop looking at what other people are putting out. And really try and develop my own message was huge for me. And it's the same thing that I tell my clients. Figure out why you're in business. Why are you doing this? You probably hear it all the time. Know your why. Discover your why. Tap into your why. You need a strong why. And it's true. You do. You need to understand why are you in business and why are you doing this? And then kind of keep your blinders on. Everything you put out there ties back into that mission and that why and your purpose of why you're in business.
I love that. So having some kind of filter system.
Yeah.
What I do is I limit myself the time that I go on to Facebook. So I'm very strategic in what I'm doing. And, I felt like, I've got to be doing this and I've got to do a million things. And so I changed my thinking. I thought, you know what? I'm only going to do what I feel is in alignment and authentic. And, as a result, I found that things have shifted. So I think we're so distracted. I mean, think about all the technology. Technology is not going away. And this is so funny. I don't know why I have to bring this up. But the whole Pokemon phenomenon, I was so far behind, because that's in Facebook. I'm like, what is this Pokemon? My boyfriend explained it to me because he has a daughter. And I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. Like, this is another distraction, but it's also kind of interesting.
Yeah.
In a way.
Stuff like this, technology in general fascinates me, the way people use it. So now I've kind of turned into, I'm just doing it because everyone else is doing it. I use it as a tool to watch the psychology of people, to see how they, number one, react to the trends. Number two, how do they make it work for them? These restaurants are now putting Pokestops so people have to come in and order something while they're playing the game. Genius to me,
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, I was thinking about this the other day. I'm like, wow, a lot of people are looking at one level, like this is entertainment, but yeah, you and I were looking at the psychology and behind oh my gosh, that is a $1 billion idea.
Totally. Exactly. Who would have thought? The game is almost, 15, 20 years old, the thought of Pokemon itself. So, and here they rehashed it and made new light out of it. And now people are making billions of dollars off of it.
Exactly. And they got me suckered into it because I just caught Pokemon last night.
Me too. So
what's your Pokemon name?
You know what? My daughter named us. I don't remember now. My kids do. I have my kids do keep all track of everything, and then late at night I'll go in and double check all this stuff.
I love it. Well, it took me hours to come up with mine. It's Pokey Visionary.
Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh.
Because I thought about it like, well, do I want to use it like my name? And I'm like, well, probably someone has my name that got to put a number behind it. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, no, I'm all about helping people to create the vision. So therefore I'm a Pokey Visionary.
Oh, I love it. Oh.
I feel like we're getting off a tangent early.
No, that's okay.
It all serves a purpose.
That's right. It does all serve a purpose.
I love that. I love it. And, it's funny because before we started, doing this interview, we had an off-camera conversation about, okay, should I say this? Can I say this to your listeners? Should I watch my mouth? And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, you know what? That's really interesting. Let's bring it up in conversation at least, because if your brand in your unique expression of how you want to say something, if it's swearing, who am I to judge? Yes, everyone judges. Everyone has the trait of judgment. And the people, if we're really being authentic and true to ourselves, and if that is natural for someone to do in their business, then you're going to attract those people that resonate with that. And I really want people to get that. Not that you have to side, with doing that, but to really understand to me, it's like to honor people for who they are. You might not agree with what they're doing. And I want to give an example. I really want to be true. I want to share that conversation that I had with you earlier. Is that I was launching a summit, and if those people that are not new to a summit, you get a bunch of people on there, and they're you interview people and you promote it all at once. And so one of the women that was contacted, she didn't want to be a part of it because she saw other people's sites and saying, oh well, they have profanity and that sort of thing. And I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? If I make the exception for this person and say, well, I'm not going to uninvite someone else, that's not being true to who I am, because I want to honor people in their own expression. And, I said, well, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that you feel that way. And again, it's all about alignment.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's funny because every time I send out an email, I get several responses with people saying, you shouldn't swear, you're in business, how dare you? And I think to myself, well, I don't write you and say, hey, you should throw an F word into your emails. It's kind of the same thing. So if your personality is you don't swear, then please don't, get mad at me because my personality is that I do swear. And it's part of who my brand is. It's so funny. I had a conversation with a friend. I was probably about a year into business, and I was really struggling with I kind of felt like Alice in Wonderland. I was like, who am I today? And she was looking at my website and she goes, oh my gosh, this is so freaking boring. she's like, everything's worded perfectly. It's laid out beautifully, but this is not your personality. She goes, Desiree, you walk into a room and it's like Norm walking into Cheers. Everyone's like, hey, Desiree's here. She goes, you have a personality that fills up a room. Your website makes me think you're just like every other Mary on the block who, is in the corporate world. She's like, you have got to let your personality shine through your website. And so that conversation right there was a huge eye opener that I need to start talking to my audience just as I do the people that I talk to in person. And so that was a huge lesson for me that, I can translate some of that. And in fact, I need to, because with the computer screen sitting in front of us, they can't hear my personality, unless we're on the phone. And the other flip side of that is I don't want them to look at my website that's very clean and, it's written a certain way. Then they get on the phone with me and I'm dropping F-bombs in the middle of our coaching call. They'll probably have a heart attack. So I want to make sure that what they're reading online is the same person they're going to get with me once they hire me for, coaching or services.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like, you want to be congruent with your brand. I was coaching a person and they were swearing they were showing me their copy. I was helping them write copy. And I'm like, I'm just kind of curious. Why did you choose to use these words? Because this doesn't seem like your personality. And she's like, well, I thought it would help people or, kind of wake them up. I'm like, well, I get that. However, that's not really who you are. Like, let me ask you a question. Does that feel authentic? And she's like, no. I'm like, well, don't use it.
Yeah. That word authentic is huge. It's huge. And I know, in the coaching and the marketing world, we hear it several times a day, but somebody who is, either new to getting their business started or struggling with get to the next level, usually it's because they haven't found that authentic feeling. They're too busy in the cookie cutter land trying to be like everybody else.
Right. It's so true. I love this. I swear I feel like I attracted this interview because my conversation, like to all my clients and the message is, that I like sharing with people is that you will attract people to the degree of your authenticity. Yes. And so I thought about it. I'm like, if I am being truly authentic, what does that mean? That means I'm goofy. I'm silly. I want to talk about chihuahuas,
and Pokemon.
I want to make fun of myself. And, one of the things I want to learn is beatboxing. So I'm signing up for beatbox lessons.
Oh, I love it.
Okay. I haven't taken my first lesson, but I'm like, yeah, like some people might say, well, but you got to look perfect. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. This is who I am. Like, I'm a comedian training. Like, I like to make fun of myself. And if you don't like it, then, get off the ride.
Exactly. And I think people are afraid to be themselves in business because think of how many generations there was a certain look and a certain,
wearing a suit.
You had to wear the suit. You had to, wear heels. And I don't even think I own a suit anymore. Once I left the corporate world, I was like, bye-bye. And I think some people are still, not that they're stuck, but that's what they're so used to hearing for so many years. They just don't know that it's okay to be yourself, especially when you're running the show. It's your show. Put on a show,
It's so true. Yeah, I've never been more like I wore like blazers, but never to wear like a full, like I would see women in these power suits. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so like bland and blah. And like, like I've got this necklace, you can see this, something very unique like that, because that is my unique expression. Part of my story is when I went to college, I tried to get into fashion design school, one of the best in the country. My grades were off. There was, they only accepted so many people. And I was so distraught. And, obviously later on in my life, I'm like, I'm expressing my uniqueness in my fashion and how I dress because that's what I like.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and in the corporate world, I went through some excruciating situations because I didn't have, the quote unquote blue blazer and the suit. I had fun clothes. I had skirts with wild prints and I would always have crazy jewelry. And, usually I'd have a couple of streaks of pink in my hair just to be fun. And I got written up so many times. I got told that I'm too colorful. I got told. So it was like, when I started my business, I was like, that's it. I'm going to break all the rules that I was being in trouble for when I was, working for somebody.
I love that. I think that's so great. And it takes a person that really knows who they are, to do that. And I always like to use relationships as an example. I don't know what your past has been, but I want to share my past. And I would attract these men in my relationships that would be jealous of me, or they would say, well, who are you to do that? To really own my power and make me authentic. And it was until I realized that I kept attracting the same pattern. I'm like, oh, this is really interesting. And now I'm in an amazing relationship now. But I just thought, what is your journey of attracting those people? And it could be in the form of clients or maybe your past relationships.
Well, I think, I think my journey as far as attracting those kinds of people they're people who went through similar situations, whether it was relationships or corporate job, where they were constantly being told, you need to be quiet, you need to watch your mouth, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. And something inside of them always felt off. Like, I don't want to listen to you all the time. I don't want to be doing what you tell me to do. And I think because that's what I went through, and I always knew there was this wild child inside of me. She was just dressed up in a, prettier package because she had to punch a clock. I attract those people because I'm putting out there, it's okay to be you. Right. Whether you swear or you don't swear, and you don't need pink hair to stand out and be authentic and all this kind of thing, but to really understand who you are and be okay with that and be okay with showing that, I think is huge. And that's really part of my message. And I really do think that's an integral part of the people that I've been attracting both into my business and, friendship and relationship wise. They seem to be people that are going through this same exact thing. They have the personality that they've been holding in, and they're ready to release. They're ready to be more and have more. And I think that really plays a big part of it, of my circle of people that I'm bringing into my life. It's been really interesting.
Yeah, I love that. And again, I just think this is such an important conversation that, I really want people to get this, that, being unique, having your unique expression is going to actually set you apart from everyone else. People will do business with you because you're being true to yourself instead of trying to, pretend to be something different. I think I said this in a different interview, but there was, and I don't want to name the name, you probably know who this person is, but I don't want to call them out. So what happened is this person was like a big coach in, our industry. And they went on stage and they were trying to be like a Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins, like, come on!
Yeah.
Like real like, oh. And, he's got his own unique expression. And so this other person was trying to be like him, and people could see through the BS. They saw that he was not being authentic. It felt awkward. And so, the next time they were on the stage, they went back to themselves. So I really, I know no matter who you are, I don't care what level of, in business that you are, but the most important thing is, you're saying you got to be true to who you are.
Yeah, I agree. And, with that being said, Heather, I think there's a little bit of the element we have to go through that other stuff. We have to pretend we're Tony Robbins. We have to pretend we're Marie Forleo for the day or something, because I think that gives us insight as to, okay, maybe that's not me. And I think that's a huge part of the journey too, is figuring out who you're not and who you don't want to be in order to really discover who you are and who you want to be.
Yeah, I love that. And I also think it's necessary too, even though, we can't be distracted in comparing ourselves, because I don't believe in comparison. However, I think, having competitors are necessary in order for anyone to grow, because you can find your unique expression of going, I like what that person does. However, this is how I want to show my unique expression and put my mission out there in a different way. So I love what you're sharing with our audience here, and saying, it's okay. You can look at that person, but you don't have to be that person. You don't have to be a copycat of anyone.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and a lot of my clients, they come from the direct sales industry, which I don't know of any other industry that could be any more cookie cutter. You have thousands of people in your company selling the exact same product with the exact same branding. So one of the things that I teach them is figure out who you are and create a personal brand around you. So instead of promoting the product, you are promoting yourself, and people will do business with you regardless of what you sell. And I think that rings true for any industry, whether you're a coach or a service provider. just market yourself as the person they want to be doing business with, and your services come in alignment after that. They'll want to do business with you whether you're selling cars or selling coaching.
I love that. And it's so true. It's so true. People will, if you're too same, especially in that industry you're using, for example, if you're too the same and people know that spiel, people don't want to be sold to, you've got to be yourself. And so I just love what you're saying. And I really want people to get this. So no matter what you're doing, the whole message is find out who you are, be unique, and, do what inspires you the most. So Desiree, I know, this interview went by so fast, and I know you've got a free gift to share with our listeners. Can you share a little bit about what that is?
Sure. I have a free gift, and within the gift is more gifts. So if the gift is geared towards the direct selling industry, and it's the guide to direct sales growth. But if you sign up, there's also a gift that I give you a couple days later called Email Marketing Mastery. And that's really for any industry. And it talks about the steps that you need to do to really master connecting with your audience via email, which can be a little tricky. So I talk a lot about personal branding, finding who you are, having that journey, and really discovering all of that within the Direct Sales Guide to Growth, as well as Email Marketing Mastery, which you get as a whole bundle. And that's available on my website.
Awesome. Great. And for those of you that are listening or watching this, you can click on the link below. There's in the show notes, you can find that link to Desiree's gift. Well, Desiree, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you. This is fun as always. I love chatting with you.
Woo-hoo. Well, I'll have to have you back on the show.
Yay. Awesome.
And we're actually, so FYI, everyone that's watching, I've got a new format change coming very soon. So stay tuned.
Yay.
And it's all about alignment. So it really aligns with what we're talking about today.
Perfect. Love it. Thanks again, Heather.
Thank you so much. And I want to thank all of our watchers and listeners. And if you found this show to be helpful, please rate, review, and subscribe. Please do it on iTunes and YouTube, because I want to get my mission and purpose out there so I can empower more women just like you. Until next time, this is Heather Picken. Take care. So if you found this show to be helpful, please hashtag WOFE, that stands for Woman on Fire Entrepreneur, and subscribe to this show in iTunes and leave me a review. I want to know how these shows have helped you. I also want to know the number one thing that you're struggling with the most in your business. Every week, I give away complimentary sessions to help you get it clear on your next steps and to activate your money mojo. You can learn more about my work if you go to www.heatherpicken.com.